So, my name is Jennifer, and when I draw my name badge, I like to draw it to remember where I come from and who I am. So, I was born out of the watershed of this Miami River. This is the land that I've come from on my mother's side. I'm the sixth generation on our family farm. And on my father's side, I grew Christmas trees because we have a Christmas tree farm not far from here. And I also come from the land in Georgia and the land from Nigeria. So our people were taken from Africa generations ago. And I also want to acknowledge that today we just read the poem by Joy Harjo. And today is International Day of the World Indigenous Peoples. And so it's a wonderful gift that you brought that to us. Thank you. There's so much that we have, because we are all one, as the Everything Seed relates. So again, I wanted to say thank you for having me. It's an honor for me to be here in this community, which is my hometown. And it's an honor for me to be here with you in particular, Chris. I have just an appreciation of the work that you're doing. Even when I live in Arlington, Virginia, I think about you all, knowing that you're doing such important work. So I'd like to start with this offering of a song, which is Go Down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land, tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Troy, Ohio land, tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. So there were pharaohs that walked the earth, and today there are still pharaohs. Some say that there are pharaohs in the White House. We know that there are pharaohs that live inside this house that we all have. We all have these. And so this song, Go Down Moses, speaks to, for me, reminds me of Harriet Tubman, who led the Underground Railroad, reminds me of this connection that we have to freedom and our divine creator. And it has those same seeds of truth and liberation and light that we have. And so we live in an environment that's been colonized. The land that we are on was taken forcefully by death of indigenous people, the Shawnee, the Miami people who lived here before us, and other people, and other animals and plants and trees that used to be here and call this place their home. We're also built on the backs of African people who were taken forcefully from the continent of Africa. That is the story of colonization all over the world. And this song reminds us that there is a lot to do in order to heal those relationships, but it has to start within ourselves. That we're all indigenous to the earth, like the Everything Seed says, and we all have access to this truth. There's not any one of us that doesn't have this access. And so these seeds that we have, we are just like the seeds in the garden. That we are reaching our way up to the sun. I got to go to Egypt in 2023, and we celebrate the sun, and we celebrate the river, Happy. And the Nile River gave us life. And that is our true essence. That's our true story of people. So I know that you all have been doing so much work to make this community more inclusive, to honor the oneness of us. And doing this work requires us to honor those seeds that are planted inside of us. The Unitarian Universalist first principle talks about the inherent worth and dignity of all people. And all people also means the rights of Mother Earth herself. that she's 4.5 billion years old, and that she gave birth to all the seeds that came up from Mother Earth, including us. 200 million years ago, she gave birth to flowering plants and trees. So us as humans, we're pretty new within the realm of the species and the seeds of Mother Earth. We are mere infants or babies. We're still figuring ourselves out, and there's a lot of reason to give ourselves grace. When we talk about plants and seeds, we wouldn't be here but for them, right? Today we're sitting on these trees. Hopefully we had some bite of breakfast this morning. We have air, the air that we breathe. We have the water that we drink. And next to all that, we have the food that we eat. And food can even be considered part of the water, part of the air. We couldn't have food without those things. So, and today and this morning, I'd like to lift up the women who are the carriers of the seeds. And in our world today, there's been a lot of reasons and a lot of things that we don't lift up about women. But we all came from a woman. We were all carried by a woman. And women are the reasons why we're here. We were actually all carried by our grandmother. We all lived as an egg in our mother when she was inside of our grandmothers. So we have every reason to celebrate this connection that we have and know that we are not here just independently. So these women that we pay homage to today, they also gave us the gift of agriculture. So when we hold seeds, we can know that between 10,000 and 15,000 years ago, women were the ones who hybridized seeds like teosinte, which looked a lot like the seed of wheat, into what we now know as corn. We can know that indigenous wisdom teaches us that seeds like squash and corn and beans were grown together, not in a monocultural way that we have oftentimes today, but together because they all work together synergistically. And they called them the three sisters because they related to them as family. And rice was considered to be the grandmother because she gave so much to our people. And African women, when they were taken from the shores of Africa, were known to have planted seeds of okra, sesame into their hair so that they would know that when they got to wherever they were going, that they would have some insurance of their life. And that's how we have so many of the crops that we eat today on our tables. So when we talk about the garden, and we talk about seeds of liberation, that is our life that we're talking about. And we all have a divine right to that and a need to fight for it and to be committed to seed keeping and keeping ourselves as seeds and that connection that we have with divine. So the garden is one of the very few places I would say that, I don't know if it's a few, but it is one of the places where it's so clear that the UU principles live out. And we can experience it within our minds and our hearts and our bodies because we watch those seeds change over the season. And they grow they attract plants, or they attract hornworms, or they attract whatever they attract. But it's an incredible miracle of life, right? That's happening within this short window that we have. So it requires patience. It elicits that awe that we have inside of us, that connection with the divine. And in the garden, we have to make decisions that actually are about the whole. We have to make decisions about how often to water, what soil we need, how to fertilize, what these plants need. And then they give back to us. So it's a reciprocal cycle. And I also want to acknowledge that I've been part of a global community called Terra Madre, and I'll be going to Italy in September this year. It'll be my second time. But for over 40 years, people have been coming together. Farmers, fishers, stewards of the land, coming together. Local people like us, going to Terra Madre to celebrate the diversity of our foods and of what Mother Earth has together. These are folks, there are people from 35 different African countries who are there. And for me, having grown up on a farm here in Ohio, I was unaware of my connection as a woman to agriculture. Thinking that because I didn't have the strength, or I wasn't a man, that there was not a lot for me to be doing, which is in fact not the truth. So this movement that's been going on for 40 years was started by this man named Carlo Petrini, and he says, "Those who sow utopia reap reality." And he's an incredible person who inspired a movement. And so my partner and I, Jim Embry, and so we do a lot of activism globally around the world and around the United States. So I encourage you, you can certainly have one of these flyers, and you can read more about the Terra Madre movement. So working together to better understand our own impact on the water, the rocks, the soil, the flora, and the fauna, that's our work. And because we know life in the garden, we can know and trust the power within our lives, because that is simply a small microcosm of what's going on in our bigger lives. And I want to share the words of Arundhati Roy, who affirms to us that another world is not only possible, she is already on her way. She's already sprouting, where people are gathered together to protect seeds and nourish our communities and to cultivate hope. So,
thank you, Jennifer.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Can I pass this one?
You may, yeah.
All right, so this is our time for
Something fell.
discussion. I know we've always had some interesting discussions. Couple of some questions here to kind of reflect on the service so far.